pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, a nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Liberty and justice for all. We'll take a moment of silence. Thank you. All right. First thing on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda as presented this evening?
I'll be glad to make a motion that we approve our agenda as presented to us this evening.
I'll second.
All right. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next thing on the agenda, public comments. Do we have anyone signed up for public comments this evening?
No, sir.
All right, thank you so much. Next on the agenda is approval of the meeting minutes that were in your report packets that we have. So if you guys want to look over those for a second. And this is for the May of 06, or excuse me, May 6th of 2025 meeting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which was actually our April meeting.
Which are April, yes.
Yeah, April's
Correct.
results, yeah. Sometimes that's a bit confusing, but
Hey, if you are a Willy Wonka fan, that's the way I picture it.
Really?
In the original Willy Wonka, when the
Uh-huh.
teacher was like, "We're going to move your test to Friday and all this, but you're not going to learn it until next Tuesday or something," and it's all, "We'll be fine." Like,
oh, okay.
that's what I hear every time.
Mm.
Original.
Is the date wrong?
What?
Dick wrong where?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
I can only hear about half the words when you say it.
Oh, because of the
That
fan.
is part of the fan
Yeah.
club problem. My computer decided to take a quick little nap, but I think it's waking back up, so I'll get working on the AC a little more.
All right, can we get a motion to approve the meeting minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve our agenda or the meeting notes from May.
Thank you.
If I can get the words out.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next thing on the agenda is the approval of the CEO report that is presented in your packet this evening. We can take a few minutes to look it over and we'll go forward from there. All right. Any questions? We would put a motion. I think I would like to put a, excuse me, I would like to get a motion to approve the CEO report as presented this evening for June 3rd meeting, June 3rd of 2025.
I'll make a motion, but I do have a question after the motion is accepted.
Sure, go ahead.
Should we be concerned that there's more and more students that's starting at the age of, I think we talked about this a couple meetings ago, more students going virtual? Obviously the enrollment numbers at a lower number have, are obviously down in kindergarten and first grade, but as far as the sophomore, junior, and seniors, there's more online students, which is encouraging other students to possibly do that. And and Jill, to your credit, I do understand that we've talked about that people can work at a younger age, so we can't stop that, and employers are getting cheaper labor, but is that an area that we should be concerned about, and or is there anything that we can do?
So, yes and no. We are working as a team to, and I think I've brought that up maybe last board meeting or the meeting before, that we are revising some of the online program requirements to get entry into the program. Because right now a lot of it has just been, well, I'm having a social issue, or I just don't feel like coming to school anymore, or they're not getting their actual work done. For the students that it's designed for, that can thrive in that environment, that show up to their Google Meets, that respond to our emails where parents are checking in with us as well, letting us know like, hey, something's going on, and we're seeing academic progress, that program is doing phenomenally well for them. But for students that are just trying to avoid maybe a discipline issue or an academic issue, going into a program that uses actually a more rigorous curriculum without having basically a certified classroom teacher with you at all times while you're learning, not everybody is meant for that. So that was a part of a discussion with Ball State during our review last year, where just like our high ability program or a SPED program, you don't have to allow entry for everybody without being like some parameters set for that. Now, of course, we have students that may have a medical need or may have a scenario like that, but that is what homebound instruction is for, and that can be a different avenue to use instead of just being in that online program where you have to be highly motivated and using those extra supports that you have in place. So that's something for us to navigate, I think, as we are adding the new programming with the graduation updates that we have done, some of our new partnerships, that there will be a good balance there in helping reach those kids, or if they weren't connecting in that way because we're kind of chunking high school and making it a little bit smaller, that might be a more manageable caseload for them to be able to get through, or course load.
So I know before this whole, labor force, that before they changed the employment things, the school would have to sign off on the students working. And now, because we're a charter school, is there any way that we can implement, hey, your grades are suffering, we're gonna be able to stop you from, like, hey, you gotta come to school in person?
Now we can, when we change our policies on our online program.
Okay.
But we can't impact the work at all. And, the question for that is, right, they're no showing for us, because we've had a few that we've expelled this year or academically withdrawn because they beyond truancy, right? I'm talking like 60% of the year gone, whatever. Telling them, hey, you got to come back in person. Well, then they're probably going to go find another online program or not find a program at all. So there will be collateral, however that goes. If a student is, let's say it's a high school student specifically, and they choose, well, fine, I'm done, I'm just not going to go to school anymore, and their parents allow them to quote unquote drop out, we're going to see graduation rates dip some. But we're also going to be the value and the diploma strength and all those things that we've always held high, right? Like, that stays with it. And so it's trying to find a way to best serve all of those families in that environment, and connecting, doing a better job with the online, connecting to the in-person resources we have as well. But that's a possibility. They may just say, well, then never mind, no thank you, APA. And that's just going to have to be something that we as a
I can get muted when it froze up.
Oh.
So, yeah, it was weird. It restarted for some reason. I have no idea what happened there.
Man, I feel like I was brilliant.
I gotta repeat all that.
Yep.
Last 10 minutes.
Yeah, I'm
I
not
mean,
sure
I
what
could.
happened there.
I could
We
ramble again.
rebooted it all together somehow. So
Oh.
okay.
Okay, well, can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
Hey,
Ryan, she pretty much said her hands are tied based on what's going on.
my hands are tied, I don't care anymore, it's fine. No, and basically just saying that we do have to hold the line there, right? Because our job is to educate our kids better, and whatever better means for them. One of the things Zach is really working hard on right now is the leadership component of the online part, right? How do you merge Civil Air Patrol in an online environment? Well, there's been work on that that's happening. So there's new programming, some new opportunities. We did have an unusually high number of online kids that came to field day on the last day of school. And like, looking at these kids, we're like, we've never seen these humans before. Oh, right. And part of his push too is to try to find more socialization activities for them to help improve with that engagement too. But as I was saying before, I accidentally got muted or on purpose.
Maybe.
I've seen that happen when people are giving speeches. Happens to me at graduation sometimes. But that by holding that line and how we hold our line on all things, there could be an enrollment impact, there could be a graduation rate impact, or there could not be. You don't know. So we will just roll with it. And I believe at the July meeting, possibly, that I'll be able to present some updated policies as far as the online program goes. And we're really specifically talking about that middle school, high school arena. The elementary, there's not that many that are in there, and Captain Hayden and Weaver have done a really good job. A lot of those kids end up being on his TOR caseload anyways as part of IEPs, and so they've been helping get some of them back in the building, or at least getting some house doors open for services that need to happen. Not perfectly, but it's been a small microcosm, but the elementary online is different than middle school and high school. It's a little less self-paced and more teacher meeting, but Zach spent basically Tuesday through Friday, every hour is a meeting with another kid, trying to tutor them, trying to engage with them, and sometimes they show, sometimes they don't. So, but there you go. Good question, George. And there's a nice rambling response to
But it's not
some
just
of those.
our school. I've heard some feedback. Apparently, it's just common with the older they get, the more that they, for whatever reason, tend to want to go the virtual route. So.
I was at Wallacey and Warsaw High School today, and those questions were asked to the principals that I asked, and their hands are kind of tied. I just didn't know, because we're a charter school, could we implement a little bit different guidelines and allow them?
Yes, we do. We can have a little bit more restriction on that, because it does have to tie into our offerings and within our charter and those things. Just like some of the academic classes that we've always required, or you have to come here and get a core 40, except in a very small case, right? That's the standard, and that is the standard. And makes Ball State happy, right, Ball State? She says yes.
Yeah, in full transparency, guys, I had a soldier that just graduated, was going to graduate from here, that he went online. I told him, do not go online. You need to be involved, be in school and everything like that. And then I got a call from Mr. Miller saying, your soldier's not on track to graduate. And I was like, well, I can't make him go to school full time, can you? And he was like, well, no. So I'm hoping that we can sort of get this remedy before, because if you look at the numbers, they're trending in that direction, that more and more kids are going to go online.
Well, but here's the happy part of that story. We kidnapped that child, and he came into school to do his online program, and he finished Thursday night.
He didn't have a choice.
Well, we know.
Oh.
We know what options and buttons to push. But yeah, and that's one of the most frustrating parts, is especially when there's a truly legitimate reason to need to be that environment. And then when you get kids and we know you need us literally staring at you to make you do your work, or we know you're not going to ask the question if you need help, but we all know your struggle face. That's harder to do in that online environment. So, but yes, we are working through it to the best we can.
Thank you.
Welcome. Semper Gumby, always flexible around here.
So my motion still passes, I accept the director's report.
Okay, I'll be glad to second, and then we can open it up if there's additional discussions. This is looking at next year in comparison to this year, but it might fit in with our CEO report better. Are we anticipating next year perhaps a big drop or cut, a reduction in our title funding?
All right, well, depends on the swipe of the pen and the hour of the day. Title I, no. So they have come out with our current administration's new proposed budget bill. And Title I, they are maintaining. They have said specifically, Title I, we're not touching.
Okay.
So that's helpful. But then they drop down and say we're cutting at 15% billion of these other sections, and they don't specifically come out and say what those are, but this is a category that is underserved populations or high special needs, not always specifically special ed, but
They
we're talking
could
about
be,
homeless
but yeah, it's
youth,
mostly low
that
end,
type, right?
lower economic. Yeah.
Very much low income, very much some of those challenges. And that was a $6.5 billion budget item, and now it is down to $2 billion. And so there's about $4.5 billion, and the way that it is worded, that looks like it's Title II and Title III and Title IV. Because it talked about teacher training, and that's traditionally what people call Title II a lot. So a lot of schools use it for PD. We don't use it more for salary support and incentivizing teaching AP and dual credit and some things there. And then Title IV, that is very much about kids, helping with those words I'm not really supposed to say anymore, but that employability skills that helps them with their socialization and maybe how to regulate in a business meeting. So a lot of that is in the Title IV, and that is where we use a lot of that to help with basically the SEL and fidgets for kids and giving them those little extra boosts or experiences, because we used it to take our kids to IRT so that they could go see a play that was related to what they were learning in English and social studies. And so those experiences, fine arts is also mixed into. And so Title II and Title IV could be impacted, but I don't know
But
to
not
the
Title
extent.
I.
But not Title I. They have not touched it yet.
We'll see what the new numbers are here when we get to the budget. You know,
Yeah,
'cause
well,
I may be obsolete already.
No, our federal, we left just exactly what we got last year, because technically, by statute, which can also come and go quite easily around here, we are guaranteed 95% of what we had the year before because of how low income our population is. And so they're not supposed to be able to take a huge cut from us regardless, and that's all of those programs. But like I said, it's anybody's guess. But
Yeah.
Title I for sure is not being touched right now. Federal SPED funding is quote unquote being slightly increased, but
Yeah,
schools will not see that. It'll
appeared
be a
to be
flat.
about where we've been
Yeah.
before, yeah.
It'll stay flat. So Part B and Title I, those are our biggest chunks besides USDA food and all that. Title II is, this year we were about 67, somewhere in there.
Yep.
And then Title IV was in that 28.
35
somewhere
maybe,
in
yeah.
there. So
You brought up food service, again, a kind of a technical detail might fit in better here than later. I noticed that we, this year, have cut back on our estimates for food service, both buying and then the reimbursement, and it seems like then that carries forward to next year. I found that curious. It might give one the impression that perhaps we initially had overbooked or thought we were going to feed more people than we actually have been.
it's representative of the student enrollment drop.
Okay.
So we're feeding
We
the
just
ones
didn't
we
pick
have.
it up, and it's kind
Right.
of delayed. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm sure Bookkeeping Plus can add in more on that adjustment, but really it's just aligned in what we're doing right now. We have the breakfast and lunch. We have snacks for the tutoring program, and we do currently have right now for the next 2.5 weeks, we're doing that summer feed option. Did anybody see a sign when you came in today? Lots of them, didn't you?
Oh.
DOE, if you're listening, in compliance there. Very big thing to make sure that that is extremely well advertised. And that's feeding our summer school kiddos, but it is also at every building for a half hour each day. It is open to feed public children that don't go to APA, that are 18 years or under. And so yesterday here we didn't have any, but today we ended up with 5. So, and a group of 4 of them, they had come in because they were wanting to register, and
Nice.
they wanted to see Angie. I said, hey, I looked at Mom, I'm like, have you guys had lunch yet? Are you hungry? We've got lunch in the cafeteria just waiting for some people. And so, got 4 that
Well, we
way.
can use-
Bonus.
We use free lunch for recruiting. too,
There you
maybe,
go.
yeah, right,
They were coming first. The lunch just sweetened the deal.
Now, I thought, let's see, didn't I hear something about the governor of the state decided to cancel funding for that, or did
Ah.
I mishear that?
You did not miss here, but there are 2 programs.
Oh.
So coming out of the summer, coming out of COVID, they gave us these PEBT things. They used to make the schools manage it, which was a very mean thing to do, because we have no control over FSSA or any of that, and they don't communicate well. But they took that over maybe 3 years ago, where we stopped having anything to do it, and they were giving people Sunbucks cards. And I think they had $120 a kiddo on there that would be basically a boost to summer feeding for people that are normally on benefits. And we did it last year under the new Sunbucks programming through USDA, and the previous Indiana administration had it set up to do it again this year. But when the incoming administration came in, they didn't like necessarily what they had set up, or didn't think they had done it correctly. And so they told the federal government, we were going to forego it because we do not have enough time to get it set up to process and run appropriately. And so they withdrew Indiana from that. But I think there were at least 12 other states, I think there were 13 states total, that said, never mind, we're not going to do that. Not great for our families, not great for our community, but that's definitely above my level.
Well, I'm glad we're still able to offer it, of course. Yeah, I was afraid it sounded like it was being cut out altogether, so.
Yeah, and the I guess maddening part for us though is ours ends June 19th. Summer doesn't end until August.
Then
So,
what?
Right. I think ACS might get to go a little bit longer than we do, but I don't know. They've been a feed site for a long time as well, so I'm hopeful
Oh,
they
Most
got.
of those go to July, like July 24th in some of the surrounding counties, or
Yeah.
surrounding cities.
So
Well, who
that's-
decides then if it
Um,
happens after that?
the Department of Education decides who gets to have it and who
Oh,
have
okay,
not.
if it's still in existence.
Yeah, well, for the summer, seamless, it's called the seamless summer option. And we had to fight really, really hard the last few years to even get to do it, because there was such a large site here. But we have transportation challenges in our community. Some of our families can get here and cannot make the trek over to Anderson High School or another thing, just like some of their families can come here and not get to their buildings either. So there's only so much money to go around, and DOE oversees that, and we're very thankful for getting to still participate. In case we're being listened to. We really are, and you know, it's part of just trying to do what we can for the kids, and at least we know our summer school kids especially are getting breakfast and lunch. So,
Well, we're hearing expert reports on the future with AI, that someone was suggesting all of these jobs, especially entry level for young people, may just vanish in a couple years. So one wonders what are all these kids going to be doing to be gainfully employed. I don't know that. They might want to join the military. That might be a boost to you, if they're the kind we want, of course. So, I don't know.
Yeah, it's, and
I mean to
that's,
get offline there, but it is troubling. And
well,
what's everybody going to do for a job 20, 30 years from now?
I do
Only
not
time
say
will
this
tell.
tongue in cheek.
I don't have to worry about it myself.
Say, I don't say this tongue in cheek, but they're gonna be fixing the robots. That's
Ah,
Yeah.
a lot of this career tech and the makerspace and things that we're
Mm.
doing. If you go even to like a car plant now, a lot of those jobs are helping maintain the robotics
Mhm.
arms and
Yeah.
things.
I don't know if there'll be enough of those jobs though for all 330 million of us.
It'll be okay.
All right,
That's it.
we'll go ahead and, thank you. Can we get the, any further discussion?
I'll say, nobody has brought up my last page. and
Ah,
this is what
I'm
it is.
Oh,
getting
yeah, I
ready
forgot
to.
almost about
Congratulations
that,
to our
yeah.
boys baseball team
Yeah, letting
winning
stand still.
sectionals. So APA sports are rocking this
Oh, yeah.
year. They've been doing great. So proud of all of the students and the hard work
What
that
does
they're
that
putting
mean
in.
though for our graduation? That you kind of
That's
left us
the
hanging.
magic question.
That is the
Yeah, we're
question.
still hanging. You're hanging.
Yeah, so that June 4th, tomorrow morning, the IHSAA will let us know where our location is. What I can tell you is it is possible we will either play at 10 a.m., 1 p.m., 4 p.m., or 7 p.m., somewhere that is considered the south of the state. That's what I got for you.
Oh, wow.
No.
Yeah, so, and
Oh,
this,
that's when we're playing.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
when we're playing.
Okay. Yeah.
So graduation right now is scheduled for 1 p.m. in Anderson at AAU. And we had tried to maneuver graduation to miss the sectional championship, which then ended up being on a Monday. And we could have had graduation on Saturday and not be having this conversation. And then we squarely put the graduation smack dab on regionals. Maybe not the best move, but we were running out of days. We also did give the parents a chance to vote for those days. So we have been talking with AU since October, November. We knew we were coming off, you mean you don't count your chickens till they hatch, right?
Mhm.
We know we were coming off a really good baseball season team last year. We had returning coach, returning players. Then our record kind of was a little deceitful in how wonderful and amazing they've been, and then all of a sudden just kicks into high gear and we're back. And yeah, I know I put in my report, like, we opened our season in April 11th to Liberty and fell 13-5, and then last night it was 6-3 against Liberty. So
That's awesome. That's awesome.
and I do have to say that baseball team extremely well coached. Their coaches, Coach Bostic and Coach Shaw, they care very much about the kind of humans they are in the dugout, on the bus, in the classroom, on the field, much more so than what kind of baseball players they are. But by caring so much and holding them to that standard, they've been helping them get that other part together too. So this could be one of those cool Cinderella stories. You know, it's baseball and it's America pastime there. It was cool last night to see it and to know that all of a sudden, like, our sports, it's coming to fruition. We do have 8 seniors on the baseball team. And I know, you know, we're not going to make anybody happy if we have to move this graduation, if we have to adjust something or whatever. But it's APA. It's what we do. We're there for each other. And when we do a final salute, that should have all our kids.
Absolutely.
They
We're pretty
shouldn't.
sure it'll be sometime Saturday.
Oh, it'll be Saturday.
Saturday, okay.
Unless
yeah.
it rains. Ooh,
Ooh.
rain. Yeah. Forgot about that option.
Yeah, I think Thursday and Friday is going to be our rain day.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we will get that out as soon as we possibly can, but that was part of the celebration last night. Everybody's like, woo, wait, now what? So,
And
we got our
there's-
best people on it.
There's no ramifications as far as, like, if our students, when our team goes on, we have graduation, our seniors will still be able to participate, right? Just because they graduated, went through the ceremony, that doesn't take them out of any of the other, like,
Oh yeah,
regional
no, they're
section.
good.
Okay.
They're good to go.
I assumed that, but I wanted to
Yeah,
make sure.
a lot of them right now technically are graduated. We got some that have decided they're going to do that super senior stretch because they enjoy. They're like, wait, there's 2 weeks between end of the school year and graduation. I can take my time on some of those couple last classes. So, see earlier conversation with George's kiddo. So.
I saw him in the picture, I was like, huh?
But yes, there is our baseball sectional, and that was a really cool experience for our kids, and a couple injuries during that game, but you know, they walked it off and they're all at Kings Island right now, so who knows what's going to come home from Kings Island.
Yeah. They're more likely to get hurt there than they are on the field, perhaps.
I mean, that's probably fair.
Definitely sunburnt.
Yes. So, but they are with Miss Rue, barking at all of them about sunscreen. She's been on it for 2 months. My husband is also on that, and she has been barking at him about, you better have a hat and sunscreen for your bald head before you get on this bus.
I always have
Like,
a hat on.
wow, she's getting kind of scary here. So, a little excessive on the sunscreen.
Sunburn on a bald head is no laughing matter. I used to think it was funny when Dad had that problem, but I know what he was talking about now.
Yeah, he does indeed get that struggle sometimes.
I think we're veering offline,
All right.
Mr.
I
Chairman.
think so. I mean, we're
Thank you,
excited about
Jonathan, and
baseball.
keep moving. So can I get approval of the CEO report? First of all, thank you everyone, and congratulations also to the boys team. I do appreciate that as well, and we're wishing the best of luck at regionals. All right. Can we get the approval of the CEO report as presented?
I will make a motion that we approve the CEO report as was presented to us.
I'll second.
All right. All right. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you again, and we wish them best of luck coming up, and go forward from there. Thank you, Joe, for that report also. Next thing on the agenda here is our financial reports. We have approval of our board treasurer report and also our monthly financials. We have a lot of financial reporting stuff tonight, also going over the 2025-2026 budget. So if possible, Dave will probably keep the treasurer report probably short so we can hit the meat and potatoes of the new budget coming up.
Okay. Let's see, everybody has a copy of my script, as I call it. Hopefully we're getting pretty well familiar with the format that I use. The top part is answering the question, what has changed since our last board meeting? And then the bottom portion there is just a quick look at April's results. And many times what's changed for our year-end projections is the same thing that was changed during the month of April in this case. So we will notice that projected year-end cash net income loss, it was $252,910 last board meeting. It's a little bit worse by about $75,000, $328,312. You can see the changes between total income and total expense. And then we compare that as you move across the page horizontally with our amended budget results there, and of course the variance. And then just to refresh our memories here in the last column, I have a review here of our ADM history, if some of that is just a little bit fuzzy. And then working down, what is significantly changing our total income? Our total income is about $269,000 less than what we thought it would be at the last month. So I then answered that question by picking out the two most significant factors. And we do know that our CSP2 grant, and that is this year covers the planning stage of our I call it pre-K, and you can see that we have reduced that what we're expecting to get by year end by about $102,000. Now the question would be, when are we going to get that? And then if we did get that, say after June 30th, would that apply to K through 12 APA, or would that count towards the pre-K? And I think our CEO report answered that, because it looks like we're going to get all or most of that by end of June. So that's sort of a question that's been
Yeah,
answered
we'll-
here for us.
We'll get a good portion, and right now, as it stands, it would be going to the APA.
Since it was
reimbursement program.
earned for this year. Yeah.
Right.
Although the planning period does extend, I think, a little past
does.
a year.
Yeah, it does, and we will see it in both sets of financials when we are in that phase
Mhm.
too, because it will still impact APA and there because of
Right.
the shared staff.
Now, the next one, there, of course, part of the big drop, 163,000, was food service, which we just answered, so we'll move on. And then the next question, what significantly changed under total expense from last board meeting to this one? Well, we've got several items here, and a lot of them seems to be related to our friend, the facilities grant, which has caused a lot of discussion this last year or so. But you'll notice that we have now decided that all facilities grant money will be spent by 6:30. It has to, because the deadline has been moved up. And so last time we had cut that to 121, thinking that we may have to use some of these grant monies to cover operating expenses, but that situation does not seem to be as menacing as it was perhaps a few months earlier. My only question would be, are we going to spend that's rounded up to 520,000, are we going to be able to spend that as we originally intended then, or not necessarily so?
Not necessarily so.
Okay.
Intended, yes, facility projects, improvements, those things. But one of them would be looking at, like, we're not going to be able to get a playground by June 30th,
Mhm.
or those parking lots updated by then.
Mhm.
Those projects are coming just past this grant cycle, and so we'll use different funding for that.
Right, okay.
And so these will go back to the allowable expenses within the original grant, within the original statute.
Right, because as we've talked about in prior meetings, we do have other operating expenses that it is permitted to cover with those, same for building improvements. We've answered the food service expense already. Now, another item that was interesting here, utilities. I pull out the outside professional services, and we have a negative. We're projecting year end a negative 36,000. I found that to be kind of a curious entry there, but I know when we were using the COVID relief money, we were spending quite a bit in that category. So I'm thinking that maybe that's all wound down now. Is there anything unusual going on in that category that's
The
worth
negative,
noting?
part of it's related to the CSP.
Mhm.
The what?
The CSP, part of it, because we can allocate, so we're allocating some of these expenses for the CSP grant.
Oh, okay, okay. And then the last one I have noted here is our building improvements. Again, we have kind of an unusual entry here. For an expense account to have a negative 283,000 is a little bit unusual.
Same
And-
thing, it's
Yeah.
also related to the CSP.
Okay, so we know that we've
So
been,
this will be all taken care of when we
CFIG.
do next year, because it'll totally be separate. It just gets confusing
Mhm.
because of offsetting those.
Yeah, it has been, and of course, we've been doing a little shuffling there in anticipation that we might have to, if funding here or there got delayed or cut, so.
And for the building improvements, that is CFIG, not the CSP. Those projects right there.
Okay. And let's see, moving on here then, again, my pre-meeting report covered all of this in more detail, so you can consult that to, if you want to dive into that more. Other metrics that we have an interest in tracking, sub-expense, including for kindergarten and G and A. Let's see, we had budgeted 95,460. We're up to 126,448. I noted next year we budgeted 85,000, which would appear to be perhaps a gamble or risk, but then I thought, well, perhaps this year we had more maternity leaves, which may have been jacking that up a little bit. I didn't know, but I did note that. We always are interested in tracking our net health insurance. Now, I pull out the TPA fee, and you'll notice we had, our amended budget was 329,000. And we keep increasing a little bit each month. We're up to about 362,000. Now, the TPA administrative fee, that should be about 50,000 next year. That's 41,468 this year. That seems to be stable. One might argue, if we add the two together, are we really doing a lot better than we were pre-market? Well, I think we are. I don't know if that's something that needs to be taking a closer look at, but I see no reason to conclude that we've been doing a lot better if we hadn't have gone into the marketplace. So we'll leave it at that. Now, the debt service coverage ratio, I did have a little paragraph in my pre-meeting report. That's based on our accrual numbers, and we do not forecast those for year end, so that's a little difficult to tell if we will meet that. We know that the bank requires 1.25 times. We did make it last year. If you look at on an annualized basis, last board meeting we had dipped below 1.25. We were 0.975 times. We are now 10 months in, 0.71. So the question is, are we going to make it or not? I tried to come up with some simple ways that maybe we, that says outside investors of sorts, might be able to predict that. I don't know if this is worth anything or not. You can all review that, draw your own conclusions. I annualized the, it's called earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation. Investment bankers like to use that as a proxy for cash flow. It's not necessarily super precise. And then I figured the annualized ratio. I don't know. I think we may be hard pressed to make 1.25 because we're right up against the ceiling anyhow. We may fall short of that, but we may be close. A lot of it depends on what happens in May and June. And you'll notice I inserted...
I think we will fall short of it, but the problem is because we received the charter facility grant, the monies last year, that showed us higher.
Yes.
Remember, a lot of times when we show the bank, the average is 1.26, which does allow us to make that average.
Well, the average sounds a lot of our problems on those mismatches. Yeah.
So I do think we'll make what the bank is acceptable with. I think we'll be fine.
Okay, well that's good then.
Don't get me wrong. I do think it'll be close, but I think we'll
make
it.
And I didn't want to dwell on that, but again, if anybody finds that what I tried to forecast useful, go ahead and use it. Looking ahead to May and June here before April, on a cash basis, May is projected to be a $182,000 loss. Now, June is betting big on a lot of title reimbursements coming in. And well, actually, I've got it there. 27,000. If that comes in, we may make it. If it doesn't, we don't lose it. We will get it in July or August. But and then also we will be getting the rest of or most of the rest of our CSP2 money, which we just talked about. So if we have a big influx of those monies in June, we might have a fighting chance on it. So anyhow, that takes care of our projections.
I just want to interrupt for a quick
go ahead and
second.
jump in whenever you need to.
We don't anticipate receiving all of that Title I. The problem is we've matched expenses, and some of those expenses will be paid in the next month, so we have to match those. So we still are gonna be about the same as far as the cash, but we won't receive it. Now, we do have a little bit more on the CSP than what we thought, so we
Yeah.
probably will receive probably another 30,000. We will update that next month.
Now, that was because the state was tardy in getting the reimbursement form out.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it was the
yeah.
application, it was nothing
Yeah,
on,
it's a
it was
new
ridiculous.
program
But
for you.
anyway, so, but I still feel that we're gonna be close on that ending number, and if anything, it will be higher.
Yeah.
based on
Well,
that. So
that's
just
not
wanted-
something I don't think we're worried
We don't
about.
anticipate receiving all that, but we have to match the income and expenses, because if I take it out, but we just don't know for sure, so it's arbitrary, we just don't have all of that yet. So we just keep it in there as matching, so we're not shooting there, making it look like it's way better than it is, or way worse than it is.
Yep, very good,
But
yeah.
I do know we will receive about another 30,000 on that CFP, so I didn't mean to interrupt, but I wanted to
Oh,
let you know
no,
that.
well, go ahead and jump in here, whenever, we need to. Let's see, going down quickly to April, the monthly parallels some of the changes here in our year-end forecast. So, you can see that our, bottom line for April on a cash basis, we ended up with a $135,000 cash loss, which was a little bit better than budget, not a whole lot. But then April, May, and June are usually months where we do not have a positive cash generation on the bottom line, let's say. Now you can see that our ending cash, $431,849 at the end of April. And did we give our ending? Yes, we're projecting about $464,211 cash at the end of the year. Now that's a decent figure. It could be better, but that is better than what we were looking at possibly a couple months ago. And I always put in the accrual net income, which sometimes is close to cash, sometimes it's not. It's timing difference, that's all it is, but that's a negative 203. And then I just gave everybody at the very bottom of what was the key factors affecting total income. Only one thing, we had 78,000 CSP money that we thought we'd get that we didn't. That's pretty much the story there. And then affecting total expense, again, some of the jiggling here between buildings and facilities grant, which we have a good understanding of. Utilities, outside services, of course, that seems to be costs there are being cut. And let's see, that's about all I think that we need to mention in that regard. Is there anything else we need to say about April? Bookkeeping Plus, anyone that questions or
I
anything
think
that
that's a good representation.
I've missed
Yeah.
or missed or butchered somehow? I do that
No.
every once in a while.
I'd say the only note that I'll make is about those substitutes. So if you look at that overall instructional expenses line, you'll see that we are under budget. So because we've had some long-term subs
That's what I was
instead,
thinking,
so there's kind of that offset there. We, in theory, will have less maternity leaves than we did this year, but I already know of 2. So, it'll be, it's
I
a thing.
suppose there's anything that water cooler that I'm drinking out of won't bother me.
I
but
don't
is
know
that,
there.
Would that be it?
But yeah, so we do have 2 expecting that we're aware of right now, but
Well, that's
we'll
not
roll
a
with it.
$5 item.
ones might be around Christmas break, so there'll be a nice little placeholder there.
And everybody is still offering, let's say, premium competitive rates just to get good people to do it. Is that still,
Yeah.
that's still the trend?
Yeah, we are, and we do have, most of the time we have enough subs to cover our needs. Sometimes there's some timing of the absences or having a lot of people absent at the same time, like when we need to go on a big field trip or something of that nature. But the subs that we have, been pretty happy with, and they're, good people working with our kids. So.
Well, I think we went through that pretty quickly, didn't we?
Thank you, Dave.
That's always good.
For that.
The
I
less I
appreciate
talk,
that.
the less chance I'm gonna have to give myself problems.
All right, can I get a motion to approve the board treasurer report and the monthly financials for April for this month?
I'll make a motion that we approve the financial reports.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Dave, for that. I appreciate that. And also, Beth and your team also at Bookkeeping Plus. We appreciate that as well, too.
Oh, I might mention, everybody did get a email from me. It's not part of Boardable, I don't think, which is fine. The Finance Committee, I did issue a report from our meeting last Wednesday. And
Oh, I
of
didn't
course,
get that.
there may be a few changes in our final version, but if you haven't consulted that yet, you might want to look at it. It might
Can you
give you
email
some
it to me?
additional info.
Can you email it to me when you get home?
Do what?
I didn't get it.
Oh, you didn't get it? Oh, well, here are you, my copy.
Well, hey, thanks.
There you go.
There we go.
Next thing on the agenda we'll start is old business, and we'll continue on with the final reading and approval of the 2025-2026 budget.
I'll be glad to let someone else do that.
Yes.
Maybe
So we'll
Sandy,
get
she's
started
been
from there.
very
I'll turn it
quiet
forward to you,
this-
Beth, and your
this
team.
week.
Thank you so much.
So there, again, we've been working through several changes with, with everything going on with session and all the different changes going through and trying to get everything in there. Jill had gotten some updated numbers as far as like our revenues, which basically she's gone over, and so some of those have changed. On our basic grant, some of that has gone up, where textbooks were going up like 150 and some of the basic grants, so some of that sped just because of the population. Some of that will probably be going up some, and we indicated there. Unfortunately, because of the ADM as to where it is, we've had to make some changes in salaries and things like that, so there's been a decrease in some of the salary lines in some various places, which unfortunately is the biggest area that you have to make adjustments. I mean, there's only so many things. I mean, your utilities are what they are. A lot of the instructional things are what they are. I mean, it's obviously part of it's driven from the ADM, and we do that. And one of the things, Dave, you're talking about the lunches, it does vary based on the ADM, and we always budget a little conservative, so it shows a little loss. So it may be higher, but as it comes through, the revenue is offset again by the expense, and it does match up to what the count is.
Mm-hmm.
So that does vary, but you can see that it goes hand in hand with that.
Yeah.
And so that's what we've done based off of the ADM and what we anticipate where we will be with that. We never show that we're gonna make a profit on our lunch area.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
again, we're conservative. If it comes a little bit better, then great. But again, we've just gotta be the most realistic, especially, we're really trying to conserve cash and get that, with all the federal fundings and the grants and the ESSERs and all these things going out, it's made changes. And I just want to give kudos to Jill and what she's done as far as the ESSER grants. I had a lot of schools that put so many salaries in there, and I kept saying this is not sustainable, and it's going to be a problem when they go away. And you guys did not do that. I mean, a lot of it you did, like your HVAC and a lot of things we've already discussed. But that's made a big difference. But despite that, there's still been some additional fundings with all of this COVID and everything that, you've got to get back to your reality. And then just with the government changes, there's been some cuts and things like that. So this has been a tough budget one to go through. But, with all of that, the changes that Jill's gone through, and we've met with her and things, we're showing currently where we are is showing basically we're basically flat. As far as, we're not showing a loss, I will say, there's always changes that are coming about every day because there's still some adjustments, but we'll just have to deal with that as it comes and then make adjustments accordingly, whether it's up or down. And that's what we do with any budget. But I mean, for the most part, this has just been gone through with a fine-tooth comb, and we tried to do the best with the information that we have currently. And like I said, some tough decisions have had to be made, but that's where it has to sit in order for us to balance, because obviously, in order to provide the education, we've got to be within our budget.
Well, I think you guys have done a heck of a job, and anybody that delves into our familiar cash flow statement that we use, man, there's a lot of detail here. And to try to keep track of all of this and update it, I'm glad that's not my job. I just do kind of a quick analysis here, and that's difficult enough. So I think, I don't think anybody is more diligent and thorough than all of you folks are on our budget-making process. So,
Yeah, thanks for that, Dave.
Yeah.
It's always nice when people are like, man, great. I would never want to do that part of your job. Thank you.
yeah. Makes a difference when it's you that's actually doing the work sometimes. Yeah, you do
It
get that
does.
appreciation for it.
Yeah, and like Beth said, fairly confident in our state funding that we have presented. That came from Kyle Pierce, our local representative. He gave me the LSA runs after the midnight budget, as I keep calling it, was passed. So, and I know I said that in previous board meetings, we actually did see our complexity index increase,
Oh,
which
yeah.
by itself was about, I think,
32, wasn't it? 32 to 39? I
Yeah,
think
it went
you
from
told me.
32% to 39.5.
And a lot of that wasn't that a textbook read?
No.
Or was it
So
something
this
else?
is just funding because of the income status of our kids. So that was about a
Oh.
$300
Okay, well, I got that wrong
increase.
in my analysis then.
Well, see, she was with me.
Yeah.
But they also did put that textbook part that we had been receiving separately. They went ahead and built that into ADM. So everybody's
Oh, okay.
ADM looks like it increased
Yeah.
at least by about 200, and that's really that. It's deceptive because, like, yeah, look, ADM went up, right? But your
Yeah.
curriculum reimbursement grant went away, and we were getting about 135 to 153 per kid, given whatever year of the biennium it was. And so that line item's gone, just rolled into the ADM,
Oh, okay.
which is why it looks
I
higher.
got that right. Just
You did,
I
yes.
had the wrong
Yeah.
place for it. I did try to pay close attention to everything you told the finance committee. So
I tried really hard,
you
but
did a good job.
well, and as you know, Beth says, right, like the numbers are literally changing every
Yeah.
almost hour for us. One of the things, and I was able to get it into my CEO report before it printed today, but not into our final drafts of the budget. We actually saw another reduction in our insurance and property for all of our property lines. Our agent, Eric Rich with McGowan Insurance, he warned me, this is my favorite part about Eric, when we start this renewal process, he gives me the reality of the entire industry. He talks to me about insurance and, you know, probably way more than I need to, but we all have seen it with our homes. My insurance premium at my house doubled this year because all of the property values are, I'm like, no one is buying my house for that much. Okay, fine, sure, I'll double my insurance because I have no choice. He said, don't worry about it doubling. He goes, but, you know, if you put it 15, 20%, you might be kind of okay on that. I'm like, no, we're going to look at 25% or something because just what everybody's seen, where we've had some claims in the past, not nearly as many, but you never know. And especially because that insurance line, and I did break it out in my CEO report, that insurance line includes all of our property liability. Our insurance company, at least for that part, is Glatfelter's, and from having a $51 million umbrella, they actually did increase that to a $59 million umbrella, given the circumstances right now. But that includes our workers' comp, that also includes our crime and fiduciary, so, you know, if we have anything happen, that's where a lot of that coverage is. And it also includes our cyber, which that is a much higher program right now because of increase in AI and hackers. So at press, I guess, when we printed this, we had 205,296. I knew it was really going to be 203,823. Eric said, let me do a couple more things. I think I might get them down this. And he actually got them down to 196,858 for that total package of all 4 carriers that go into that. And so we only had a 10% increase in our property insurance, which is pretty phenomenal, especially given everything going on. So found a little bit more money.
Do you think that our rate will improve with I call it pre-K for short, nursery, preschool, whatever, at 25th Street?
No, I don't think that will improve it because
Okay.
daycare
Yeah,
insurance
it's more
is very
liability.
specific.
Mhm.
A lot of things, and we actually, yeah, you want to begin with the end in mind, very much a APA and 7 Habits trait. So when planning our daycare and facility, we started with the insurance application. What things do you have to get your insurance? And then that lends into the checklist that the FSSA and all of the approving boards provide that you have to have. But so we started with the insurance so that we will qualify and not have to make a bunch of changes or, oh, now you need this, now you need that. We followed their playbook. And then you can do the programming. So we will see an increase when it's time for us to open and actually launch and have the daycare insurance, but that will be over in CSP land, and that will
Yeah,
be
that'll
over
be their
in
expense,
the
yeah.
launch pad. So
It'll be another set of bugs.
yeah,
Yeah,
now
yeah.
you know what, Dave, though, because we'd be adding new business with the way Eric works, that might be increasing a little bit where there's an extra policy, so there might be a discount there.
Maybe,
I don't know. I don't. That will be over in CSP land, and that will be hey, well, that's me.
oh, okay.
Feeling,
An echo.
I'm hearing myself in Echo Land too. Thank you. Yeah. So, and that's pretty much it as far as hey, that's my good news. There's another
Is it worthy
8,000.
mentioning the computer purchase on the debt, or is that something?
Yeah, we can talk about the computer purchase.
One thing I wondered about, are we not going to use that computer replacement coverage anymore?
It's included in that.
Oh, it is. Okay, very
Yeah.
good.
So,
So we've got the computers as finance, so that's
Yes.
reduced the cost.
yeah.
Is that a
Hopefully
loan or a
improve the
lease?
budget.
Loan.
Bottom line.
Yeah. Yeah, and one of the things I think, and I don't know if Dave put this in his report or not, a really good feature for us next summer in 2026 is pretty much all of our loans except for one are all going to be satisfied and gone.
Yeah, I mentioned that.
And so we will have 22nd Street free and clear, we'll have 29th Street free and clear. And that
22nd will be, or 29, or
25th.
25th won't be until 2029, but that'll be
Yes.
their expense eventually.
Right, and
Yeah.
it is one where it's 25th Street. Our beginning building has the longest mortgage on it, but the rest of them will be gone. I will say we are trying to finance the computers. We will get the financing for the computer, but being able to actually get a physical quote that I can give to the bank is a challenge right now because of the supply chain and tariffs. So companies like Lenovo, one, they're only giving you a 24-hour quote, and two, they're not generating them till they're 1,000% sure that they have the units you need, and no one else has spoken for them. This is very much, I feel like COVID was training us for these
for this.
supply chain things. But it has been a very challenging 3 months trying to even get a quote for the computers we know we need. So we're working on it. It will happen, but it'll take a bit. But we did include that in the financing part already. We're looking at roughly $200,000 there. That includes all of the licensing. That includes the warranty insurance replacement program for the computers we have. That includes for the ones that we are getting. That doing that computer insurance / warranty, they've been calling it those words multiple times interchangeably, has been really great for us actually through the IT department. We've saved a lot of money in the end where we aren't having to just reissue a whole new computer and eat the cost because people aren't paying their fee with it and all that. So was actually worked the way it needed to. IT guys are happy, which happy IT, happy CEO, makes my computer still go. And so that's what we're kind of working through with that part.
Is there anything about student fees or fundraising that's worth looking at for next year? It seems like we're having to revise down our numbers there. Is that anything of concern or maybe not? I don't
Not
know.
concerned, because the state 2 years ago basically told us you need to start phasing out student fees or you can't charge for specific things. And then the state realized, because they said, we'll pay you, we're not doing this hidden tax, which on paper and in practice didn't necessarily add up. There are some schools that if we got $150 per kids, that sounds great, except a AP history book's $186 for one textbook. And even if you're doing a digital version of the specific AP curriculum, I believe that was $174 per kid. So you're already in the negative. That doesn't cover your computers, the digital curriculum that we use, our online textbooks that we use. We as a school had to submit a survey to the legislators that showed how much money we actually spend on curriculum and curriculum delivery for kids. We spend between $750 and $825 per kid on our curricular resources when everything is said and done.
And we were only getting $150, I think.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And there are some schools that reported that they only spend $100. I'm like, you are not invited to our cookouts anymore. I don't know what school is only spending that much.
Yeah,
I don't
wow.
think, I feel like maybe they didn't read the survey as thoroughly as possible. In the old days, you could take you bought a textbook, let's say that $186 textbook. You know within 4 years you're going to have to replace it, so divide that by 4. That's the annual cost for that textbook, and that's typically what they charge for the rental fee to families or whoever. Well, a computer is that same concept, and so if you are one-to-one and you didn't claim your computers with a fourth of their purchase price, then you already messed up the whole survey. So that's why they tossed it into the ADM. I'm sure just to make the math easier on everybody, but I also feel like to make the math a little more challenging. They are re-examining what fees you can charge to families, but we also know the population that we serve. We know what inflation and all the things that are hitting us as a school, we know they're hitting our families, 10 or 100-fold. And so if we were going to up our student fees again and say, here, we're going to charge everybody all this stuff, we're going to be right back to where we were.
Yeah.
We might as well put that to something else, right? So that's kind of where we're at on that. You probably will see more fundraisers going because now we want to do more things or for field trips and whatnot. But you can never count on that money unless it's the elementary students, because they can fundraise like no other. So I think that's kind of it on that fee part. Even looking at our instructional expenses, the primary focus anytime we do a budget is always about our kids. We do not want to take away the programs we said they needed. That's something, especially with the pandemic, and this is one where we tried to talk to our peers, where if you're going to put an interventionist in, how do you sustain that in 3 years? Did you plan for that, or are you just going to take all those supports away? We did. In our year one with that funding, we did bring in a reading specialist and an interventionist and funded them with that money. But we made sure when we did the next year's budget that they were partially funded with Title I, as that was phasing out, and now they're fully funded, and so we can keep those positions. When we are talking about some of reconfiguring, a lot of that is in an administrative capacity, rethinking kind of our approaches to things, and how we can make that so that the money stays in our classrooms. Because I just said it takes $750 to about $825 just for the materials to help our kiddos out. We can't take the adults away, and so that's why we have had to be so tight with our budget development because it stays on those people. We also, we know how APA is, right? We've had people who've been with us for a very long time. They do amazing work with our kiddos. We want to still be able to retain them, and we might not be able to offer some of the most glowing benefit packages, although the ICRA seems to be going a lot better for people. But that's where, like, bringing in the daycare, bringing in some of those other services, and keeping the resources they need in their classrooms in the classroom is going to help benefit our kiddos. So I do want to make sure that, everybody really knows that this emphasis has been how do we keep doing what we need to, and how can we do more because we know our kids still need
So
more.
it's tough then to operate under the constraint of having to have a balanced budget without making those cuts, because we sure don't, anything we cut back, if it's the wrong thing, could hurt our enrollment, which then furthers the problem. So yeah, it's tough.
It is tough, but that has been a thing that the board has always been supportive of us. If a need comes up and we're like, hey, we really have to have this, we figure it out, right? And, maybe we don't get to update a parking lot, but maybe a kid finally learns to read. We can handle that.
Well, prior board chairman, who had been our longtime banker, used to always say, now, Ashby, can we afford this? Well, I didn't know how to answer that because I would say, Sam, you're the city controller now, and you're compelled to have maintain a balanced budget always by law. Is your definition of can we afford it, will we retain a balanced budget? Well, whether you know it or not, we're already in the hole a little bit anyhow. The question is, can we afford it? Yeah. And if we need it, we've got it. We're not broke. So sometimes there's a little confusion on the terminology we tend to use. Yeah, and
the requirement to have the balanced budget, right? I think that helps us with a lot of our, fiscal transparency and responsibility, where it's all out there, right? We're not. We do have a little bit of, we're hoping someday to save for a rainy day. But since it's been raining pretty much every year, you just go with it.
Yeah.
But that's where we are. I feel that we're pretty solid to move forward, and we know that there are going to be some adjustments. One of the things that will actually impact this fiscal year, and I did not put it in my CEO report. For our summer school this summer, we only have 3 employees that we are paying for our summer school for between K through 12. Our partnership with JobSource, who we wrote that big grant with several years ago, they still have some money left from the Indiana Learns grants, which is how they've been doing our after-school start tutoring program. And so they had money they had to spend by June 30th. I'm like, I know some kids that could really benefit from this. And so they've taken on our people, and they're paying our people for summer school minus the 3 employees we have here. And so that is expenses that we're not going to have, while still being able to do our program the way we designed it.
That's awesome.
So, shout out to JobSource.
Good deal.
Yeah.
And Star Tutoring, very thankful for them. And that their money runs out June 30th. We're happy to spend it.
Well, that's about enough accounting for one day, I guess.
I don't know.
You guys may be enjoying this meeting. I don't know.
I say, Beth and Sandy, this is their jam. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, does anyone have any other further questions on that? First, thank you to Jill and the finance committee and Dave and Beth and Bookkeeping Plus team. We appreciate everything for that and trying to get the budget all together. I know it's a work in progress, and we got it to this point right now. We'll have to go and get a motion to approve the budget as presented this evening.
I'm not sure I can make a motion, can I?
I'll make a motion to approve the final reading of the budget.
I'll say.
All right. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. The budget is approved. Thank you everyone again for your hard work for that, and thank you Beth as well.
Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
good evening.
Thank you, you too. All right. Next thing on the agenda, new business. We don't have anything under new business at all. Next thing on the agenda is discussion. Do we have any further discussion this evening?
How should we dress for the July 1st board meeting? Do we need shorts, swimsuits maybe?
I would say no to the swimsuits.
Okay,
Uh,
yeah,
I
Unless we're
would
gonna have a
s-
poolside somewhere.
I would say probably dress like it's July and it might be toasty in here, although the guys are going to teach me the hack later. They did start sending me instructions, but I need an Allen, a 7 30-seconds Allen wrench, and then a thing. So
Oh,
I didn't go get those, but we'll make sure the AC is on and
I
working.
have 3 different sets of Allen, which is on my own right now.
But it's in Tyler's desk. It's just then he didn't give me the rest of the steps and.
so much for that high-tech AI generating climate control we were promised.
Yeah. Well, like, you know what? That just shows that we are funneling the AC to other parts of the building where the kids are, and as a board, you are making that ultimate sacrifice. And I don't know. Yeah, I would say summer casual wear will probably hold up.
All right. Any other further discussion at all? Mary Ann, did you want to speak at all?
I did want to say one thing to all of you guys. but,
Yes.
Hang on just a second, Mariette. We don't
Oh,
have you
there
up
she
loud.
is, in live.
That's actually all the way up. I think
Oh, it
it's
is?
in, yeah.
Okay.
Maybe just talk extra loud.
Okay, can we turn the fan off for just a second?
Can you hear me?
Give us 1 second.
Okay.
No, it's
Our
better.
fan's off. We're good.
Okay. I just wanted to say that this is my last board meeting, that you will see me, whether it's a fake face or not.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Because I'm retiring June 30th, as everybody knows. So I just want
Yeah.
to let you all know that I really enjoyed working with you guys and attending your board meetings. You do a great job following Robert's Rules of Order, which we track on our little board observation sheet. But I wish you all well, and thank you for letting me be a part of your board meetings.
Oh, wish
On
you
a
well.
At least annual basis, if not more. So good luck in the future. And Jill, you had me scared for a minute when you said you were only paying 3 of your employees this summer, so I wasn't sure what you were doing with the rest of them.
It's just the summer school people. Yeah, the rest of them say they do it for free.
Yeah.
I mean, we told them another company's paying them.
She's only paying 3 and has everybody just coming in and teaching. So I do wish you all well, and it's been a pleasure working with you. So
Are you
yeah.
staying
Good luck,
in Indiana or moving on to something bigger somewhere else?
No, I'm staying in Indiana for a while. I have 2 children, one in West Virginia and one in Maryland, and so I'm looking for a place closer, someplace between there, but I'll be in Indiana for a while. I'm just planning on making pottery and painting and
nice.
relaxing. I have 4 Great Danes, so I'm gonna
Oh.
work on training them a little bit better because they're not the best trained puppies, but.
Well, Mariette, when you get that, I've got a Saint Dane who doesn't know how to do anything, so I'll need you to train them. She's really bad, but
Well, I'll let you know how lucky I am.
let me see how successful you are. And then, you know what? We'll send Betty up to visit you. She's very sweet, just very large.
Yep.
14 years with us. Is that right? Was it 14 years?
Wow.
Yeah, it's just been, yeah.
Yeah. So, Mariette, you've been with us for a really long time, and always have appreciated working with you. So.
Who will be taking your place here as the financial guru? Do we know
We do
you?
not know.
Don't
They
know.
haven't posted the, they haven't posted the position yet. I think
Ah.
they have to wait until I'm gone before they post, so somebody will come in. I'm trying to make sure that everything is in place for the next person, so, but I'll be around, and who knows, I only live a half an hour from you guys, so don't be surprised if maybe you have an event and I just pop in and visit, so.
Love to have you.
Or pop by and grab my dog. But Mariette,
Yes,
thank
you for everything. And when I saw your email come through, I was like, well, she's retiring, and I wish you the best. And thank you for everything that you've done. Truly appreciate it.
Yep, thank you guys.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Congratulations. All right. Now, can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting this evening?
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All right. Any further discussion? All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you for everyone for attending the meeting this evening. The next board meeting for APA here is July 1st, 2025 at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We do have the executive session next, if we can get about 5 minutes, and then we'll come back to the table and we'll move forward from there.